So the Navigator Customer Data Watch will enable you to compare your customer database with lots of registered databases that are available, which will tell you about people in your database who are sadly deceased or have moved house. And quite often, if they have moved house, it will tell you what their new address is, so you're not writing to people at the wrong address, and you can target your marketing to avoid people who have moved out of your area. So how would you do that? Let's go and look at how you would do a manual cleanse. So in the marketing system, you've got the marketing data management system, and in here you've got a whole lot of options, but the one we're interested in is customer data cleansing. If we choose that, it will show all historical and active data cleanses here. It's empty in my system, and on the right hand side here we can generate a new cleanse. This is a one button click, which I'll click now. What it will do is upload a data cleanse to be uploaded in the background up to a third party who will then look at that data and initially just review it to see, okay, this is how much it was going to cost, this is the sort of data that's going to be done. Obviously it's a third party service on there, and what you'll see is it will create it, and if we just refresh we'll see that it will then be submitted. The submission can take anything from 1 minute to an hour depending on how many records are actually being submitted. The system will only submit records which are not archived, that are current. So it's also quite important, because of course there's a price to doing this, to take in the first step and removing records that are old and stale, and the system can do that as well, but that's not covered in this how-to. So what you'll see is submitted. And then what you'll see is this, it'll then be audited awaiting confirmation. It'll tell me how many records have been submitted, 378, and how many updates there are. The updates potentially could be a lot more than the submitted, it's not likely, but on my test database it probably is. A record can have more than one update. In fact, this one's got probably 10, 12. Again, my test system, the price has always come back at 0, but that will come back for the price of the cleanse. Basically, it's not based on the number of records that are submitted, it depends on how many records actually need cleansing. So what you'll find is when you first do the cleanse, this price, depending on how aged your database is, can be much higher than you would then get if you were then to do it regularly once a month, which is what we'd recommend you would do. And what you'll find is each month, it doesn't matter how many records you're sending, you're just removing people all the time as they move out of your area, or sadly if they become onto the deceased registers, you're removing those people from your database, keeping your data clean. So what we can then do is, once it's been audited, we can just double click the record, we can see what its status is. If we don't want to run the cleanse, we can delete it, but more likely what we're going to do is approve that cleanse, and that will then ask you to confirm that you're the price, and they'll be charged end of the month for that, and then literally that will then run the cleanse, and we'll get a status of processing, import, and then later on it will then change to processed, and that's the end of that process. That's done. We can then come back to it in a month's time. Just to re-verify this, you don't have to stay in this screen. You can go back and come back into the marketing and into the data management and do it. So you can sort of do it in 3 phases if you want to. What does it do? Let's have a look at a record that it's been cleansed. So if I just view a record, I have a record on file that it has cleansed. What you'll see here quite clearly that it's put a fake address in. On my test database, it changes everybody's address to some village in Aberdeen, and there we are. This record is possibly put on the deceased register, and we can see that he's marked as this record is not current. This address would be suspicious, and customer has gone away. So we can flag that, and we can use that later on in our marketing. Hopefully that's made that clear. Thanks so much for watching.